Hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar organized by Ivy Labs, where we explore the cutting edge intersection of artificial intelligence and developer experience. Our today topic is AI driven developer experience for Kubernetes. It is an important subject for anyone working with Kubernetes and looking to optimize their workflow using AI. I am Niket and I'm it pleasure to be hosting this season for you. We're thrilled to have an expert from Robusta Dev here with us today to share his knowledge. Before we dive in, a quick introduction to IView Labs. As a digital solution provider, we focus on creating powerful, scalable, innovative software applications across various industries. Our goal is to provide our clients with future proof solutions, whether it's through custom development or integrating the latest technologies like AI and Kubernetes. We aim to deliver technology that drives efficiency, flexibility, and growth. Now, let me introduce Robusta Dev. Robusta Dev is known for making Kubernetes easier to manage and monitor, providing developers and DevOps teams with smart tools to handle Kubernetes in production. That platform helps automate issue detection, debugging, and real-time alerts for faster resolutions, driven by AI and data insights, making Kubernetes management smooth and more intuitive. I'm excited to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Pawan Guriwala, a developer advocate at Robusta Dev. Pawan brings extensive experience in working with Kubernetes and leveraging AI to enhance the developer experience. His advocacy for automation and smarter tooling within the Kubernetes ecosystems makes him a leading voice in this area. In today's session, Pawan will cover how AI can streamline and enhance the developer experience with Kubernetes, key uses cases of AI-driven automation with Kubernetes, best practice for integrating AI tools like Robusta to improve efficiency and troubleshooting in production. As always, we have a question answer at the end of the session. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat during the presentation. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Pawan Guriwala. I guess Pawan, your mic is on.
Hi, Niket. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
It's good to
So
be
thank
here.
you, Pawan. Thank you, Pawan, for being us today. So now over to you.
Thanks, Niket. Hi, everyone. Today, we'll be speaking about AI-driven developer experience in specific for Kubernetes. Before we jump in, I am Pawan Gudiwada. I'm a DevOps engineer. I love all things tech and open source. I write blogs around Kubernetes and observability. I give talks and I also spend a lot of my time attending meetups, events, and with the community itself. Uh, I work currently at Robusta Dev as a developer advocate. Robusta is an open code company. We build open source tools around observability and automation in the Kubernetes space. Today we'll be talking about uh, using AI to enhance the developer experience. And here's the agenda for it. I'll give you a brief about what we're going to look into. First, we're going to see the problem, which is why does the Kubernetes expertise of your developers matter? And then what the reasons are that you should focus on this. For example, it could be a business use case, it could be financial, or the response that it takes for your teams to solve issues. And then we discuss the actual thing, which is, can AI help you with this? And the answer is slightly yes. We'll see why that is. And we'll talk about the open source project that we built to help you with this, which is called Homes GPT. And in the end, I'll share some of my experience working with other companies, how we help them use AI, and how they use Homes GPT now to improve their overall developer experience. Let's start with the problem itself. Why does a developer who's building an application, say in Python or Java, think of Kubernetes, or why does their experience matter? There are a few reasons for it. Here are some of those. First is it takes a very long time for someone without the Kubernetes experience to respond to incidents when there is an issue of the application they wrote on Kubernetes. So this is a very common problem, and when you have an incident, the faster you respond, the and resolve the issue, the lesser impact it has on your business. And the second one is your DevOps and SREs become support for your developers. So your developers might not understand some network concepts in Kubernetes, and they have to go talk with the DevOps or SRE, and this conversation could go back and forth, and all of this could be happening while you have an incident, and your organization is losing money, and your customers are not able to use your product or something like that. And the final thing is developer autonomy. And without the expertise of Kubernetes, a developer cannot do his or her task autonomously. For example, if they do not understand something, they have to go rely on the DevOps or SRE. So uh, it is often in bigger organizations, we've seen people work remotely and also across different time zones. So sometimes it does so happen that there is an issue and the developers don't know how to actually fix it, and they might have to wait on DevOps or SREs who are in a different time zone but are not actually available. If something like this happens, the the business is going to lose on a lot of uh, money, and also the customers might be really unhappy by how long it takes for you to resolve issues. Can AI help in this case? To Before we see that, throughout this demo and also the presentation, we'll be using a simple demo application. So it is a customer payment application. So customers can make payments through this application, and the data about these customers and the payment is stored in an AWS RDS instance. So it's a common application which is storing data in a database. And to find out if there is any latency, we have our own custom Prometheus alert, which is called high latency for customer checkout. So what this does is when it detects there is a high latency between the actual order and the storage of this data, it sends us a Prometheus alert. Now let's see if AI can actually help. What I'm going to do is I have my Prometheus alerts from Alert Manager coming through this channel. And here I have the high latency customer checkout alert. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this alert and ask ChatGPT. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT what the issue is in this case. And here it's giving us details about this alert. It's telling us that there are two instances of this alerts firing. Um, and it's also telling us from the um, alert alert name itself that it has something to do with slower response times, which is actually true. And it's also telling us why we might be getting this alert. And in the end, it's telling us it's asking us to do something about it. So it's telling us, okay, you might have to check the resources of this application, which is a customer order service, resource usage, network related stuff. It is also asking us to check logs, which is great. I mean, most of us would understand when something is wrong with the application, we go check the logs, and it's also asking us to see the traffic and all of this. So in a way, AI did help us. So for example, it is getting us somewhere, it is helping us, but it is not. But this is not what I actually wanted. Now I still have to go through um, and figure out what the issue is. And as a developer, I really don't know, and most of the times I do not have access to these applications themselves for me to go and check the logs or try to get more data and also to analyze the issue. And in this case, it's asking us to check logs, which naturally is one of the things that we as DevOps or SRE do when there's an issue. So let's see what happens. So the actual question is, since we've established that AI does help us in some way, the actual question is, can AI help with incident response? So when there is an incident, can AI actually help? Can it find out the root cause? Can it help us with figuring out what the actual issue is without us having to uh, keep copying and pasting information into the chat or something like that? To see that, we'll look at another demo. This time I'm going to be using the Robusta platform. This is the timeline. Here you can see all the alerts and the time when they fired. And in this case, on the right side, you see all the name of the alerts. And here is the high latency for customer checkout alert that we are looking for. And I'm going to see multiple instances of them. I'm going to hit view to see one of these instances. And when I click it, I see the name of the Prometheus alert, and I understand that it's from Prometheus. And it's a high priority alert. I get the description of the alert and all of these details. Now, the difference is there is a button called root cause here. And when I click it, I see some information here. It says the database connection timed out, which is something that ChatGPT told us already. And it gives us what application this issue is with. And the important thing is cannot connect to MySQL server at it's giving me an RDS instance, and it's actually telling me what the actual issue is. So here it's saying the MySQL server at so and so is causing the issue. So now I actually know who to talk with. It could be someone who's in charge of AWS, who's managing the database, or the cloud ops team, or someone else. But which is exactly what I want when I'm actually trying to figure out the issue. And let's see how it did that. So if you see here, it says gather data with 4 tools. We'll look at what that is in a bit. And it says kubectl describe. So when I open this, I get the details of a kubectl describe command. And also looks like it also got the previous logs of the application, the kubectl get command, and kubectl logs command. So what's happening here is the AI is running commands actually in your cluster itself and getting information at each step to identify what the actual issue is. So this is the platform, but how is it actually working on the inside? Like what's powering this incident management? So how did this actually work? So at its core, it's using an open source project we built called Homes GPT. Homes GPT uses existing LLMs. For example, we have a bunch of integrations. You could say It works with OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, AWS Bedrock, um, and some self-hosted models. And it actually acts as a wrapper around these AI models and helps with running the actual commands in your cluster itself. Now let's see a demo of Homes GPT itself. So Homes GPT can be a standalone CLI tool which you can run on your own applications, which you can run on your own local machines. So in this case, I'll be running Homes as a CLI tool itself. For this, I have cloned the uh, Homes repository, and I'm going to Homes has this feature called the ask command, which is more like the chat GPT version of you asking something in the chat itself. And I'm going to say, find me all the issues with. Uh, so right now I'm just talking with Homes. I'm just telling it, I'm just asking it to find all the issues with applications in my cluster, and I just run it. Let's see what it does. So this was my question. And as you can see, Holmes is actually running the kubectl command. It understood that it is related to Kubernetes and it's trying to run um, what's happening here. It ran, it figured out there are two applications with issues, and it went and got the logs of these issues and previous logs, and finally it gave us the results. The issue with payment processing worker is it's in crash loop back off, and the reason is that the environment variable is not defined, and there is another application, and its readiness probe is failing. So all of this the AI is doing without you having to interact. This is the actual investigation you would do if you were to do it manually, or someone from your team has to do manually. And this whole process was automated. And the best part is this is you can do this with more than just Kubernetes. We'll see about that in a bit. So, how was Holmes GPT so effective? How was it able to actually find out the root cause in seconds? So, the first thing is it has context of your environment. Holmes is actually running in your own environment and gathering any missing information from your environment itself. This makes it very efficient because most of the time when you run something with ChatGPT, it does not have enough context. For example, if we create our own custom Prometheus alert, you as a person who's working with the company as a DevOps or SRE or as the developer has a context about what this alert is. And something like ChatGPT can only rely on the name of the alert and assume that it could be used for something. But using Homes, you can give something like ChatGPT the ability to actually run and find out the Prometheus rules and also identify why and what this Prometheus rule is used for, and then help you with actual investigation and finding out the root cause. And that brings us the ability to gather missing information. So in every step, as we see here, in every step it realized it does not have enough information to give you the answer, which is finding all the issues in your cluster. So what it did was in every single step it ran a different command, which is called a tool. So in this case it is using kubectl as its tool, and at every step it runs this command, gives the data back to the LLM, and the LLM asks it for another tool to be run, and Holmes runs the tool and gives it back the information. And Holmes is also extensible. What I mean is, right now we're using kubectl, but what if you want to use something else? What if you want to run commands related to Docker? What if you have to do something related to AWS? So by default, uh, Homes has a few plugins like AWS Confluence, Docker Helm. It can also try to access the internet and so on and so forth. All of this can be done really easily. And for example, this is how the let's take a look at the kubectl describe command. So this is the kubectl describe command, and I'm just writing it in plain English. I'm just saying, okay, this is when you have to use it, and this is how you should use the command. And it's as simple as that. You do not have to write your own APIs or integrate with other APIs and stuff. As long as the CLI is present wherever Homes is running, Homes will be able to run this, gather information, and give you and find the root cause for this for the issues you have. Before we proceed, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. Now, as we have seen, we can use Homes and also any AI, but the main important thing is for us to understand is how do we use AI in our own organizations, in your own teams or your own organizations. How do you use it so that it actually improves your whole the whole developer experience and also your team's ability to solve incidents faster. So here are a few tips. The first one is to take advantage of existing knowledge. So what that means is, if your teams already have runbooks, if your SRE or DevOps teams know how to solve these incidents, take make sure the AI has access to this information. For example, if you go back to the Robusta UI, there's this tab called instructions. Here, for example, I know this high latency for customer checkout alert. For this, I also need to say, for example, get the secrets or some config maps. So I can say, make sure, or say, for example, if this is just a database that's on the cluster and not like an Amazon AWS RDS. So I could just say, check the PVCs for issues. So when I use this, the AI actually, I can give it more information like this, and the more information I give it, it will have more context for it to actually work. You can integrate your existing resources from services like Confluence. For example, a lot of us store most of our runbooks or data related to incidents in Confluence. So what you can do is, using Homes, you can also integrate your Confluence. It's a really simple integration. You can talk to us about Confluence integration on our Slack, or just reach out to us. The information is also on the GitHub itself, so you can also integrate Confluence like that. Next, we'll go to the second one, which is give AI access to technical data. So it is important for the AI, regardless of which one you're using, OpenAI, ChatGPT, or AWS Bedrock, for it to also have access to the technical data itself. So one of our customers, who is a Fortune 500 company, they had an issue when they have an issue, they used to use OpenSearch, and their SREs would go to OpenSearch and gather information from there and troubleshoot to figure out the issue. So what they did was they took Homes GPT, and Homes GPT is open source. So they wrote their own plugin and extended it and gave it the ability to um, access open search. So now every time there's an issue, Homes GPT goes and access the issue in open search and resolves it, just like an SRE or DevOps or um, DevOps would do. And this this is the ability that your developers can have. So when your developers have this ability to do an investigation just like an SRE or DevOps, it is obvious that their efficiency of using Kubernetes and also troubleshooting issues on Kubernetes is going to be really improved. um, I see a couple of questions. I think I'll give me a couple of minutes. I'll take them. I'll make sure I answer these questions. So in the end, the one of the important things is for you to make sure that these AI tools or any of the AI that you're using, it has to be integrated into something that your developers are already using. So it's as simple as that, so that it's easier for them to access it, it's easier for them to run it, and it's also easier for them to use these tools to build their flow. For example, if you are using Homes can be embedded into your PagerDuty itself. For example, when there's an issue, Homes can automatically write to your PagerDuty. So in the PagerDuty, for example, here you see there was an issue, and Homes ran an investigation on the in your environment, and it found out the root cause of this issue, and it updated the notes of this PagerDuty issue. And it's not just PagerDuty. If you go here, Homes has an option called Investigate, and you could investigate more than just PagerDuty. You could do it with Ops Genie. You could do Jira tickets. You could investigate your alert manager alerts itself, or you could also investigate GitHub issues. So if you are if you have a big project and someone creates an issue on your GitHub project, Homes can pull down the issue related data, run investigation on your cluster, and send back the result back to GitHub, so that you can you can understand what the issue is and help people. You can also integrate Homes with Robusta, and this gives you the ability to get an alert with the Ask Homes button. So what this does is when you hit Ask Homes, it will run the investigation and then send the results back to your Slack channel. So a use case here is your developers right now might be seeing just the Prometheus alerts. And if you are not using Robusta, this might not even might not be how your developers are looking at the alerts. Robusta adds these context around the alert itself. So once they have the alert, if they are still uncertain of what the issue is, they can do is just hit the Ask Homes button, and it will run the investigation, and they can have the root cause in seconds. So those are some tips that you can use to um, to make sure your developers efficiency is improved by using AI. And that brings us to the end of my talk. If you have questions, feel free to add them in the uh, comment boxes, or you can also reach out to us on Slack. This is the Robusta community Slack, or you can message me directly on Twitter or LinkedIn. We have helped a lot of organizations using to use AI to enhance their developer experience, and also help them with their own custom tools or internal tools so that their process is efficient. So feel free to reach out if you have questions, or if you have feature suggestions or something. Um, I think now, uh,
Yeah, Pawan,
uh,
we have a questions here. You can
yes.
see it on the screen.
Um, Right. So the important thing here is Holmes is not Holmes GPT is a name, and like I said, it's a wrapper. It only uses an LLM that you give. So by default, what I mean is you need to give Holmes access to the LLM. So Holmes itself does not have any AI inside it, or like it's not like a machine learning model or anything of that sorts. You can choose whichever model you want to run, and all you have to do is give Holmes the API key for this model. So Holmes is actually sending data back to the LLM and getting the results back. So what that also means is that uh, you don't need another new AI, or you don't need something of that sorts. You can use your own existing AI model, which you are comfortable with, which your enterprises have agreed to support. I hope that answers your question, Jigar.
Yeah, uh, we have one more questions in our comment section. Yeah.
Right. So there's two things we can address here. The first thing is sending data to the LLM itself. Like for example, your application logs, your cluster data, cluster information. So if we look from that perspective, Holmes is actually not using, or like this is on so you have to choose which LLM provider you are trusting in. For example, a lot of our users use Azure OpenAI, which is accepted at a lot of enterprises. So what they do is they get a OpenAI LLM key, and OpenAI LLM key from Azure, and Azure makes sure that any data that is sent to their LLM is protected. So Holmes does not directly send it to so you don't have to think about what Holmes can do with it. As long as you trust your LLM provider, it should be totally fine for you. And the second side of it is, um, I think we've already addressed it also. So Holmes does not actually do anything related to it. And also, if you are using something like a private LLM, you can also integrate your own private LLMs so that they're something that runs in your cluster, and use it to connect with Holmes. Or you could also run Holmes in your cluster itself, which is not directly connected to the internet or something like that. So Holmes can also run in cluster, private clusters. We have customers who use Robusta on on-prem clusters. So these clusters are not connected to the internet. So that also can like protect your privacy. If you have like questions that are not answered, if you have like say, okay, this is an edge case, how do we do it in this case? Just reach out to us on our community, or just shoot us a message, and our technical team or one of our developers would be happy to chime in and help you with it.
Okay, then Pawan, let's wait for 2 minutes. If anyone have a questions, they can drop us.
Yes, sure. And yeah, so as also Holmes is an open source project, so feel free to try it. All you need is a LLM key, and your Kubernetes cluster or AWS issues or whatever you want to troubleshoot, and Holmes will be able to help you with that. If you like the project, feel free to give it a star, and also you can check out other of our open source projects. Uh, yeah, thank you. W- Feel free to try it, and we hope you just you'll like it.
Yeah. So, guys, if you have any questions or any doubt regarding this presentation, you can drop a message to us. Okay, Bhavan, then let's sum up this webinar here. And thank you for the insightful presentation. Uh, we appreciate your time and expertise. Before we close, I would like to remind everyone that if you have any tech related queries or require any kind of tech support, please reach out us at support@ivilabs.com. And thanks for attending and have a great day.